Hey everyone, Shrubby here. Welcome to part 5 of my Fundamentals of Piano series. Today we're going to be talking about rhythm. Now, rhythm is one of the most important aspects of playing music, particularly if you're looking to play with other musicians. You might know all kinds of fancy chords and licks, but if you haven't put time into developing your rhythm, you're probably going to have a hard time gelling with other musicians and locking into a groove with them. So I could probably make an entire video series on rhythm alone, but today I just want to give you 3 quick tips to help you get started developing your rhythm. So the first tip is to practice with a metronome. Now, I already know you probably don't want to do this, but I promise you that the metronome is actually your friend. And what makes it such a good friend is that it's going to always be honest with you. If you're practicing a song without a metronome, you might be speeding up and slowing down and taking pauses at certain points without even knowing it. But as soon as you turn that metronome on, it's going to let you know exactly where the beat is supposed to be. If you've never played with a metronome before, you can start very simple. Let's try playing a scale along with the metronome. So my goal with that exercise is really just to start to internalize that tempo that the metronome is setting so that I can land right on the beat with every note in the scale. Now, there are alternatives to the metronome to help you keep on the beat. One of these is playing along with drum loops or drum machines, and probably the best thing you could do is play with musicians who have great time. Now, unless you just have tons of money to pay great session players to come over to your house, you may be thinking, well, how am I going to get great musicians to play with me? But what if I told you there was a way to play with world-class musicians for free right from your own home? Well, you actually can. This is something I really advocate, which is playing along with the record. If you're learning a song, play the song and play along with it. Hearing yourself alongside those other musicians is really going to give you a good sense of whether you're finding your place in the groove. Okay, on to tip number 2. Tip number 2 is to subdivide. So I had my metronome playing quarter notes. In other words, it's going to click 4 times per measure. But music isn't just made up of quarter notes. We have 8th notes and 16th notes and all sorts of different ways of dividing these beats up into smaller pieces. As an example, I'm going to use the clave rhythm, which is frequently found in Afro-Cuban music. If I clap out this rhythm, it sounds like this. Now, some of my claps are landing right on the beat, but that second note of the pattern falls on the upbeat of 2, exactly halfway between beat 2 and beat 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Because I have notes that are landing on the upbeat, I want to keep a steady 8th note subdivision going on in my head. So let's try it with the metronome, and I want you to clap along with me, and I'm going to speak the subdivisions out loud. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So because I'm feeling that constant 8th note pulse, it's much easier for me to place my notes precisely on those upbeats. And in addition, my downbeats are also going to be more precise because I'm feeling those smaller increments of time in between. So my last tip is to pay attention to your dynamics and your note lengths and your articulations. These little details are going to be what really brings life and energy to your keyboard parts. I'm going to play this little loop as an example. So first I'm going to play it all at the same dynamic volume, and I'm not really going to make any distinction between short and long notes. So that sounds okay, but watch what happens if I emphasize certain notes and play certain notes short and just try and create some variation within the groove. So that feels way better. Even though I'm playing all the same notes and the same rhythms, because I'm not playing every chord the exact same way, this part just sounds much more exciting. I would say the main difference here was in my note lengths. So I made sure to make a really clear distinction between my long held out chords and my quick stab staccato chords. Long, short, long, short, long, short, long, long, short, long, short, long, short, short. So as you can see, paying attention to these kind of details really helps your parts to pop out and feel more dynamic and overall just sit in the pocket better. Anyway, those are my 3 tips. Number 1, play along with the metronome, a drum machine, or a recording as you're practicing. Number 2, subdivide so you can be more rhythmically precise with your playing. And number 3, pay attention to dynamics, note lengths, and articulations to bring your grooves to life. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time for part 6. Until then, happy practicing.